Hey, there we are. Hello.
Hey, Gene, how you doing, man?
Rise rockers and hip hoppers, everyone.
Hello. Welcome. Glad you could join us.
Very glad to have you, Gene.
You know what? Let me just adjust my volume a little bit down because I can see I'm redlining a bit.
Oh, don't do that, man.
No. I think it's needed. Yes, and hopefully I replaced my board now, so the sound issues should be taken care of for at least a couple
You
years.
sound great, Woolie.
But you know how these
You
things...
sound...
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
These things die out after literally, I think, like 4 to 5 every single time on the gain button.
Can I say something? Can I say something brave about that?
Yeah?
So, when we had the office a million years ago, those mixers would die constantly.
Yeah.
And then you say that your mixer dies like fairly regularly?
No, okay. Well, it's more that the gain button starts to act up after a period of time, and it does, you know.
I'm using the same one I bought like 9 years ago.
Okay. Well, I don't know, but I've noticed the gain button tends to need some servicing pretty regularly, and then eventually starts kind of acting up. So I'm not too sure.
You don't even use the devil buttons.
You mean this double button right here?
Yes, I mean this double button right here.
The mark of my dignity shall scar thy DNA.
Oh, that's a good use for that. That's a good one.
Let me be the blesser of all souls.
Yeah, that's all right.
Something like that.
Gene, do you have a double button?
No, I do not have a chat button. I'm not subscribed to Nintendo Switch Online. I'm kidding.
How you doing, Gene?
Pretty good. You know, just kind of sitting in the afterglow of the Nintendo Switch 2 events.
How is that?
Is
it a good thing?
You got the big Bowser scoop.
I did get to speak to Mr. Bowser. Talked about $80 Mario Kart. And shout out to Wario64 for sharing that piece far and wide. Basically.
Is that where he said that it's a massive, great value and it's incredible and that's why it's more expensive?
No, he said so. Bill Trinen said that to IGN, and Doug Bowser said what we're bringing back is variable pricing. And he's talking about they both basically said the same version of the same thing, but it's like, you know, it's $80 because of the breadth and depth of the gameplay, quote unquote.
Right.
The amount of, you know, production and budget that goes into it, and the amount of repeatability of the gameplay experience, if you will, as he said.
There was a couple of takeaways that, headlines that got pulled out of that interview, and a couple of other things he said, and that was a big one certainly, which was if you're adding the value of replay into the cost or factoring it in, then I guess that means that replay value as a concept goes down, because the whole point of replay value is that, hey, look, you get more for whatever the game was, you know, than expected. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like, if UFO, like Balatro should cost $1,000, right? Is that argument?
Balatro should cost $1,000.
That's the Northern Lion argument, right? And UFO 50 should also be up there, costing $10,000 for the amount of gameplay you're getting. And
the Order 1886 should cost $12.
So, and Sayonara Wild Hearts should be free. But it's like, yeah, I don't like that factor being brought into the discussion.
I feel like they didn't do a good enough job of using their corporate fake magic PR speak to not sound like they're saying, well, we know we can get an extra $10 on fucking Mario Kart, so
I mean,
it's surge pricing like for cabs.
It certainly got applied to some topics, like when the question about the AI stuff popped up, and it was like, oh, well, we always want to make sure there's a human touch on it. It's like, okay, well, that doesn't mean anything, but yeah, sure, you know. So there was some double speak coming out there, but I guess that's just taking the interpretations. Do you think overall, or was your impression that, like, the stuff about the pricing now that we're seeing, where it's actually not related to tariffs, is what, like, some of the news stories from today are saying? Does that make sense to you at all, Gene?
I mean, kind of. Like, you would kind of I feel like what they're saying is that we just don't know about these tariffs, and versus like they were already thinking about potential costs in advance. Because I saw a tweet from an analyst saying that the Switch 2 might have just cost $350 if there was no tariffs at all.
I feel like the reason, because everyone was making fun of Nintendo because, like, why do games cost $80? Oh, because of the tariffs. That was like the easiest layup in the world, and they fumbled it. And I feel like the reason why they fumbled it is because in 2 weeks they're going to come out with the new Switch 2 price and the new Switch 2 games price and go, no, this one is because of the tariffs. The kick up to 650 USD. No, that one's because of the tariffs. That one is that we didn't even decide that. We were going to sell it at 450 because of the incredible value of the Nintendo Switch 2 console.
So
So
I guess the idea was that there was going to be a increase no matter what, but this also coincidentally just plays in with the news. But the price was set. The MSRP was set well before this announcement. Then. And then the delayed reaction is going to, perhaps cause further changes to that. I mean, we also are seeing today the same thing about the pre-orders getting delayed, or they're also getting
in Canada.
So at first it was just America, and then it's like, no, now it's in Canada too. And it's like, well, yeah, that makes perfect sense. In fact, it's like anywhere that's going to be affected by this. And also, like, if you're creating a market where people are going to drive up to Canada to do the Plattsburgh thing we used to do, to potentially like start buying Canadian international SKU versions of the thing, like that's goofy as hell, and like you have a scalper aftermarket immediately. I imagine they don't want that.
So I was doing some digging on this, and the economic reality of what's going on with Canada and the US in regards to an import from Japan is not clear. What should happen is that if you have a product that comes into a US port and then could be sold in the US but is actually en route to Canada, you would charge the tariff at port of entry, but then on the way out of the country, you would get a refund for that thing because it's not intended to be sold within the continental United States. But that hasn't been happening. But on the other hand, most products that ship through, like say shipping came in through like Seattle, right? What's supposed to happen is that the pallet is supposed to be called a bonded item. And the bonded item is supposed to be exempt because it is literally en route. It is never intended to be unpacked. It is never intended to come out of its shipping container within the country that it's arrived at. So there's confusion as to whether or not the Canadian price would be affected at all. I think it probably should not. But if pre-orders had gone live later tonight, Amazon Canada ships to the US. That would have been scooped up.
I feel, there's that, right? There's the bot buyers. There's everything that happened with the NVIDIA cards, that just made them impossible when you're going through direct retail. But I am also just thinking of like, thank God we're not in the alternate reality where the solution Nintendo chose would have been one to reinstate region locking beyond just the Japanese only SKU.
I totally disagree.
Really? You would want a world where they're
if we are dealing with an economic reality in which we are absolutely worried about people from a 3-hour drive away buying up our entire supply of items because it's so much cheaper here, then yes, I would like Canadian SKUs to be region locked.
To Canada. with Canada only game cartridges and Canada only. Oh my God.
No, that is not viable because under region rules, region 1 is Canada, US.
Of course. Then that's the thing, is like the idea of going and splitting up every territory or continent or so into all these different SKUs individually, creating a much more confusing version of things. Like overall, it does simplify for them to basically be like, international box, here you go, ship it everywhere. The language is included. No matter where you are or what your options need to be. The version where they're like, okay, we're making one for ourselves locally because we shouldn't be affected by anything going on or so. That's the odd part, because I guess if the whole thing about what Bowser's saying, where it's like these prices were determined without these tariffs being a factor.
I don't believe that for a second.
Then why was the Japanese SKU that's cheaper chosen to be a thing well in advance? That feels like a tariff product,
I think the yen is weak right now. I think that has a factor in it. I think they might be willing to take a loss on hardware in Japan.
So just for their own region specifically, to not be affected by that. And then they also are still offering the international version SKU in Japan that you can buy, but it's going to cost you more. Right.
Yeah, and also they are in total control of their own internal shipments.
Yeah.
Right. There's no. I mean, unless Vietnam, because the Switches are being manufactured in Vietnam, unless Vietnam gave them a reason to doubt that, but there's no reason for any economic turmoil on that shipping area.
No, I wouldn't imagine so. But it does feel like that type of product existing is a response to what's going on, and basically being like, we're not going to fuck over prices for our own here. We're going to keep it, we're going to do our own thing, and then everywhere else internationally will just be a separate thing, and then we'll keep it at 2 SKUs. I'm guessing.
I will say one thing about real people impact here, and what I should have said at the top is, when you asked me how I'm doing, is I'm pretty tired because I just came back from CBS News. Here I am on CSB News.
Wop wop wop. News, totally the same level of prestige and importance.
Woolie, we're opening up our podcast talking about the economic realities of a major market.
It's
news now.
But while I was at the CBS Broadcast Center in New York City, I got my hair and makeup done, and I was just waiting in the green room, and I'm waiting by the studio, and then one of the producers, he's like, psst, psst, hey. You're Gene Park, right? I'm like, yeah, that's me. And I'm like, he was like, do you really think Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be $100? And I was like, bro, after today, guarantee, bro. And he was like, shit, I need to find a new job.
Absolutely. 100%, dude.
Because they're not paying him shit at CBS either.
If Nintendo is going to charge you, I mean, okay, let's throw a 40% tariff on the $80 price. What is that? Fucking $110, right? If Mario Kart's going to come out at 110 USD, why the fuck wouldn't Grand Theft Auto 6 come out at 100? Why not 120?
Well, the funny monkey's paw to that is, the first story, which was like a bunch of devs are hoping that they release it at a higher price so that everyone can, or rather, a bunch of publishers are hoping that they shoot it out at a higher price because now we can set a higher bar. But hey, you got your higher bar, but I don't think this is the way you wanted it to go down. Like, you are getting that $100 or more GTA, sure, but at what cost?
We know
the cost. That's literally what.
I don't think this is viable long term. We saw Sony talk about how, when they did their first party games at being like $10 more, that they saw decreased sales as a result because people were loss averse to higher prices, and they didn't see the particular Sony first party titles as deserving of it. Now, Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably immune to that concern. However, I feel that if Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out $100, and everyone goes, oh, sick, we can charge $100. You're not Grand Theft Auto 6. You're going to crash and burn and die.
I think it's pretty, like, there's an obvious thing that's like underneath all of this, the pricing discussion, which is the amount of people that are just kind of like, fuck that, goes up drastically. And when you have a ton of, again, cheaper alternatives and shorter and other things you can get through Steam, and even on your phone, there's a bunch of free-to-play shit. You can just, There's no short. You can go play a bunch of other things that are not asking you to join, not just like invest in like picking up a particular game, but invest in an expensive generation, right? You're getting the console, and then your attachment and everything else you continue to purchase there is going to continue to be higher and higher. It's nice to know that
Nintendo games don't go on sale.
No, it's nice to know that it's like, okay, so they announced that what was it, the tour, Nintendo Switch 2 tour, is like $10 or $5, was it? Right?
$10.
$6.
Should be free. Should still be free. Right? It's nice that it's not a full price thing, obviously. Great. Should still be free.
So I don't know where this came from. I don't know if that was you reporting it, Gene, but I think it was you, where Reggie Fils-Aimé had to push really, really hard for Wii Sports to be included in the Wii. And Miyamoto fucking hated it. He hated it. Hated it. And now, like, it's a $6 game.
And it's
a tiny little fucking pack-in.
There you go.
There it is.
It's in this book, Disrupting the Game by Reggie Fils-Aimé. Really good business book. It's basically like marketed. It's like he wrote it for like business students to like read and like be inspired by the story of Reggie Fils-Aimé. And he talks about like his time at like MTV and fucking Pepsi. I don't know. I'm forgetting the other companies he worked at. But he tells a story there about Miyamoto was like, no, we're not going to give a Wii Sports. And he's like, it's a good idea though.
I like to imagine that book was written mid-parachute drop diving out of the GameStop plane. Because that's where he also was for a second.
Yeah.
Jumped in, got the bag, and just DB Coopered his way out, you know? Yeah, that is a wild idea. And then the quote was like, what was it? It was like, everything we make, we don't want, something about, we don't want to give things away for free. And we deserve.
We don't give things away for free. Like if we worked hard on it, we don't give it away for free.
And I'm just like, Mario and Duck Hunt was a game changer. Was a humongous deal back in the days.
That was a launch day pack-in. I think that was later.
Was it? It wasn't a launch, because that's how the Nintendo arrived in my life, was packed in with Mario and Duck Hunt. I thought that, and then the second controller as well, and the prospect of the full family computer, you know, with 2 controllers and multiple games. Here you go, all packed in, ready to go for you.
You know what? Miyamoto's so fucking full of shit. I was like, I feel like there's a bigger example of this. Well, Tetris is a 1989 puzzle video game developed for the Game Boy that was bundled with North American and European releases of the Game Boy.
Of course it was. Of course it was.
Hank Rogers had to convince Nintendo, don't pack in the Game Boy with Mario, pack it in with Tetris.
That was a
watch the Tetris movie on Apple TV, really good.
Yeah, I just, you know, I feel like it was just such a good call, because the Wii was probably the first. I mean, it was the most recent like major new. I guess consoles reaching out beyond gamer space and getting into casual space, and like, you know, the whatever, hitting all corners, because it's just a whole new way to do shit, and having that packed in to be like, here's how that works, and giving you an example of it. Yeah. Yeah, we were talking last week about like, or just Pat mentioned like the PlayStation, and it's just like, okay, so you got some demo discs from magazines, I hope, lying around, you know, like what are you gonna stare at? What are you gonna do? You know,
I saw chat mention, yeah, that's right. Reggie used to work at Pizza Hut, and he was responsible for the Pizza Hut demo disc that we used to get back in the day too.
Oh, that's awesome.
So like, dude, like Reggie's been feeding us literally for like decades. You know, it's awesome.
I am foreseeing like the absolute most pathetic gimme possible. What's that Nintendo Switch 2 demo thing called? PlayLab?
Welcome Tour.
I foresee like in 2 weeks they're gonna be like, we regret to inform you that the price of the Nintendo Switch has jumped to $679 USD, but it will be coming with Nintendo Play Tour included as an additional value, and just like the absolute most fucking loser shit.
Well, I mean, look, we'll see.
After they told us it's $10.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Once the pre-order is open, I'm sure the delay is going to be to account for something, right? So we'll see what happens. But
So I'll tell you what, there is a benefit to all of this shit, which is if you really want it, the UK pre-orders opened this morning, and people went and pre-ordered them, and I'm not seeing tons of people complain that they couldn't get one. Because I was watching the store tickers go up and down over the morning, and it was like, they're out of stock here. No, they're back in stock. No, they're out of stock. Oh, no, they're back. Like, and it was like an on and off all morning, where usually it's like, did you buy it within 90 seconds of 9 a.m.? Oh, they're gone.
So you can still do it in the UK.
Well, yeah, but what I mean is, it's like, well, the increased cost of everything is making
it's not selling
so
out
it's less
immediately.
desirable.
Yes, it's not selling out immediately. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. There's always also that thing of like your first batch of shipments is like destined to sell out. Like it's more like when does production slow down, right? When does demand catch up, and you go like, okay, we've completed as many as are moving off the shelves first as soon as they go up, and then things start and then they start switching over to a slower production rate.
That must be a discussion they're having right now, right? Because they have to be going back and forth about the price, and it's like they don't know how long any of these economic sanctions are going to last. So do we slow production down fucking now before the thing's even out?
So June, I'm curious. Like, things are in a weird place too with games, because generations used to have kind of like starting points, and then if you came in between, you were the weirdo, like the Dreamcast was, and you're like, hey, what are you doing? We're only 2 years into the gen. Stop it, right? But they would happen almost like elections, like every 4, and like. And now that things kind of go for longer because these platforms can stay updated or release different tiered SKUs, Xbox Series X, S, and wherever they're at with the future ones, like, do you think do you prefer when generations all kind of start and begin at the same place, or do you prefer it where every company's kind of just jumping in whenever they're ready to?
It's an interesting question. I kind of I love the Dreamcast. So, like, who am I to talk? I totally jumped in on the Dreamcast mid-gen, and I thought it was the best thing ever. So, it was never a problem for me.
I love the Dreamcast, sure.
Yeah. And I never really bought, I don't really buy systems at launch. The only time I ever did that was when Sony and Xbox sent me a PS5 and Xbox Series X for free 4 years ago. It's the only time I ever had a console at launch, besides buying the Wii. Luckily, back in the day in 2006, I bought that. That's the only console I've ever bought at launch, period.
Okay.
So I've never been into buying console at launch. I bought the PS4 when Bloodborne came out. That's it. I was like, I'll get it now,
Yeah. I feel like I followed suit in a lot of cases. I mean, one thing though, when I'm thinking about this now as we're talking about it, is like, I do like when you're not at weird different levels of tech for like things getting ported, for like certain games, or if like one console, like Nintendo's obviously always coming in a little bit underneath. They're spending a little bit less than Sony and Microsoft, who are like trying to push it as far in PC as well. But like I'm kind of like, if we had a world where every level of tech port would be completely different, and it'd just be like, oh, the PlayStation 1 is good for now, but then, oh, the thing released 2 years from now is not going to be better. It's like, that would be really annoying, So I kind of do like the idea of like, okay, you can get this port or that port or that port, and hey, look, this one might run worse for whatever reason, or you pick your pathway. But for a lot of cases during the 360, like PS3 era, I feel like there was things that would happen, like Bayonetta would come out and you'd be like, oh, holy shit, the frame rate is dog shit, don't fucking play that version, but for the most part, there being tech parity allows you to kind of like not have too many disparate issues going from one version to another of a game across generations.
miss when Tech Parity had to force different ports of the game. You know, I want my isometric Tony Hawk Pro Skater. On the Game
Oh,
Boy.
you want your Ghostbusters with the little
I want
me
my
characters?
Game Boy ports of PlayStation 2 games, man.
The fucking the Game Boy Color Resident Evil that never happened or whatever. You know?
Oh, yeah, dude.
So-
Yeah, Shin Resident Evil. Yeah.
Jesus.
I think we're long past that because we had the Wii, we had the Wii U, we had the Switch, and now we have the Switch 2. Nintendo has been like a full half step behind on a technical level for like
3?
20 years? 20 years?
Yeah,
Wii
since the GameCube.
Wii U.
Wii was like 2006, right?
Wii, 2006, yeah. So
yeah,
19 years, yeah.
GameCube was on the level.
GameCube was concurrent.
GameCube was concurrent.
Had parity,
but
yeah.
like
It was
20
Wii,
years, right?
Yeah, it was Wii U, Switch, and Switch 2 now. Yeah.
So like, hey, what's a Nintendo console for? It's to play Nintendo games. Like that has been the case forever.
Yep.
And if you only have a Nintendo, then or you love portable, that's where you'll get that thing. So I don't think there's like a huge audience of people going, why doesn't Call of Duty run the best on the Nintendo Switch? I don't feel that in my heart.
Well, I guess the emergence of PC as like an actual real like part of it,
Because now we have the full
war,
scale.
yeah,
right?
means that at all given moments, a PC can still push past whatever else is going on your console.
And Gene says you bought a PS4 for Bloodborne, and there were a lot of people who bought a PS4 for Bloodborne, and it's interesting to me because I feel like Nintendo took that very specific emotion to task because. Okay, well, I'll buy a Wii for Zelda. I'll buy a Switch for Zelda.
Yep.
I'll buy a Switch 2 for Mario Kart. But also, in case you don't give a shit about that, will you also buy a Switch 2 for not Bloodborne? It's not Bloodborne, but it's Bloodborne.
Consoles for me have always moved because of a game choice. Third Strike was only ported to the Dreamcast. Shadow of the Colossus for the PS2. Fucking
Bayonetta 2 on the Wii U.
You know,
right?
Street Fighter 5 was what got me to get a PS4, right? Like, it's like, and the thing is, of course, being in this position, of course, like, it's like, yeah, when it's your gig, you know, you definitely do need to jump in there. But in terms of when I choose to jump in, I can hang out a lot for a while just of not necessarily getting a new SKU of something or getting a new iteration of it. Like Xbox, I'm kind of like, I have no reason to get an Xbox right now for anything. You know?
The reason I got an Xbox is because Atlas told me to.
Sure.
They
Yeah.
literally said,
Yeah.
go get an Xbox and record this video on an Xbox.
I mean,
okay.
Like Killer Instinct, you know, back with the Xbox One, and then a while. What did I get the new one for? Was it DMC5? It might have been to like. It might have been to get. I think it was something with DMC. I forget, you know. But it was just like, yeah, it was to do. It was to do something specifically, you know.
I mean, let's even look at the like, Woolie, you and I are streaming games all the time, and Gene, you're covering them. So there's an extremely high incentive for the three of us to grab or be gifted or acquire or whatever the fuck a Switch 2 at launch. But like, at the end of the day, like, do you know what I'm going to be streaming on the Switch 2 release date? Fucking Deltarune.
Right.
Like Deltarune is a much higher priority than Mario Kart or any of the other games of that. And it's like, okay, well, what about the rest of June? Death Stranding 2 comes out on the 26th. Like, we're not hurting for shit. It's not like, oh, there's a fucking dearth of shit to play because of oh man, June's gonna be so empty because I don't have this. Like, no, man. Like, if I can't acquire one, I'm going to acquire one. But if I can't, it's not the end of the world. It'll just be a little annoying.
Yeah, I think so. I think and besides as well, like, there's a lot of shit that I missed getting around to on the Switch as well. Like, I didn't play Tears of the Kingdom yet, so I was like, oh cool, they updated it, great. I'll jump on that when.
Oh, you're gonna play a much better version of that game.
Awesome. Yeah,
it runs so smoothly. I got some hands-on time with that. I mean, I had hands-on time with everything at the Switch 2 event, basically. So except for Mario Party Jamboree, and we can talk about that a little bit.
Did you ask anybody about Age of Calamity?
Oh,
Did you ask anybody about Age of Calamity?
No, no. Well, they wouldn't talk about anything that they weren't ready to talk about. So
God damn it! Because that's the Nintendo game with the worst frame rate.
Yes, I was upset that didn't show up. That was my priority too.
Maybe the Switch 2 can't. Maybe the game's just made wrong.
But now that we're on to Age of Imprisonment, isn't it just like, yeah, we don't talk about old shit, shut up? Are we just moving on? Yeah, you know, with the Tears of the Kingdom, I did the bit with just going and grabbing existing constructs seemed pretty cool. I'm wondering, is that only from friends, or can you browse like a list of creations and load in a Metal Gear?
Nice. Yeah.
You know.
I think you're using your phone app with your daily bonus and shit like that.
But I guess is there a public list of creations, or is it just from people you know? You know.
I mean, maybe it's like they're relying on the social aspect of it, so like I could tweet out my mech.
Oh yeah, true.
Right. Yeah, chat's saying that it uses QR codes.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, I'll probably just tweet out my mech, and you can just grab that real quick.
Fantastic.
Because I saw those videos and I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to go sit and make that, but that looks rad as hell. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I don't know where this would be a good spot to talk about this, but Woolie, can I mention something real quick about the camera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing all Switch to random shit right now.
Yeah.
Go for it. Yeah.
So I didn't get to see this, and I didn't get to try it out in person. So I just want to qualify that. But from what I understand from my black friend,
I knew this was going to be about.
the camera was having a hard time picking them up.
The way he started getting into the topic and directing the focus, it was like, gee, I wonder where this is going. Tell me more. That's awesome.
Like,
that's great.
And it's so like,
have not moved on from the Kinect. Okay.
I knew it. They were showing everybody on a like everybody in that video was on a pure white background. I'm like, that seems like a really idealized background.
But there was a black guy in the promo video
on a pure white background. There was
sunlight, like roof to ceiling, like wall to like floor to ceiling windows. You know.
Hey Tyler, why is your room all green? What's going on back there? You just it's like I just redecorated a little bit. Yeah, anyway, guys, we're having fun.
Can you imagine?
Event is like all red and blue lights, you know. So it's not like the best lighting, but it's not like
it's the lighting Woolie is in right now.
You mean this shit right here? You mean this gill shit that I'm pulling off right here? Pyrokinesis.
Telling you it's not going to work in the very room you're in.
Let's find out. I mean, this is the podcast camera setup is different from the couch back there, but let's find out how it deals, you know.
Meanwhile, Pat is going to be like perfectly aliased, you know, just like a perfect
dude, come on. Well, because it's not just that, but I have a bonus in that I have like darker red that's a fucking circle around my head.
No, there's the skin filter goes from like Caucasian to pale to red. that's your gamut. Blood filling the face, chortling. Wow. Okay. Well, my idea when I saw that tech with the chat stuff, I kind of went, okay, so basically they're doing Discord green screen and Discord, like, you know, background noise filtering and everything that's become standardized at this point with these types of Zoom, you know, chats and stuff like that. So it should at least be at parity with what Zoom and fucking what's the other one there?
Discord?
No, God, it's
Skype.
Yeah. Skype. Isn't it embarrassing how much Skype fucked up? Anyway, whatever. To not have dominated.
Skype used to be good. Then Microsoft bought it. Then Microsoft ruined it.
Yeah, and then and just the fact that like you think Skype existing as a video call thing would have been the main reference for COVID call conversations, and it just didn't. But yes, 100%.
You know, I think that hey, everybody is in their camera and you can see their feed while you're playing a game thing is actually kind of genius. Like, genuinely, I'm not being sarcastic at all, because when Breath of the Wild came out and I was no-lifing Breath of the Wild. I was no-lifing Breath of the Wild on a Discord call with all of the people I play FF14 with. And we were all no-lifing Breath of the Wild simultaneously. And not having to go through Discord and just having them and like our heads floating around. That would be legit awesome.
And don't forget, too, I brought up the other day that there's that app where you just get a fake social media thing going where you can have a fake chat popping up, and if you're a kid that's like, hey, like you're hearing about like kids who are gaming on voice chat or whatever that are just like, hey, what's up stream, hey, what's up chat, I'm cooked, and you're talking to like literally just the two friends that are chatting with you, but you're just having that thing. It's like I feel like the video and picture element of having it in the background and what as well it makes everyone kind of feel like they're streaming, you know. But what the fuck are VTubers gonna do? What becomes
VTubers aren't going to use it
of that tech?
VTubers are going to use their PC to do their VTube stuff.
So you just can't use the direct camera to do anything with it then.
Either that, or they're going to put like a cardboard cutout on their face, like that Human Giant skit with Aziz Ansari and Will Arnett and Ashley Olsen.
Well, okay, but I guess if you want to like call in through the Switch UI and be on another VTuber's call or something, you know, within the Switch interface or so, then I don't know if any other type of device or input would work, right? I feel like that's probably a proprietary camera thing that they're going to get.
I don't think Nintendo is designing their technological
to be an Elgato input box
the real life uses of fake people.
No, I don't imagine so. Also, but also, like, if you want to use a better quality camera than the one they have, like, they're just that's not what they're doing with it.
Fucking eat rocks, or wait till Hori or Logitech brings out a higher camera that doesn't work because it's only putting out like the shittiest bandwidth imaginable.
Because if you could have just any feed convert to a USB-C and then, you know, have that be your input, then it's like, okay, VTubers can directly put themselves in and play together, you know. But yeah, anyway, the USB-C port will take any camera.
Yeah, there's already a Piranha Plant camera for sale from, I want to say it's Hori, I'm not sure, but it's like it's really nice. And you close the Piranha Plant's mouth to turn the camera off.
Then that just solves the problem right there. Okay, then yeah, they're good to go. You could just figure out the input on your computer from beforehand and then feed that in instead. Okay. And then yes, it'll be in 480p.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so Gene, did you get into or get up to anything?
Hold on, before we leave this, I want on the record guesses for what you think the United States Switch 2 price is going to be when that fucking shit comes back up.
The readjustment.
No.
I'm saying $650.
I'll say $550.
I don't know. Price is right. Price is right rules.
Price is right rules. You can say $1.
$1.
Ah, you coward bitch! But it's a good guess.
And you're talking American?
Yeah,
you're talking USD. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I just had to get that in there. I desperately wanted to have that in the air.
An increase of 50% over the premium. Boy.
Yeah, I don't know what you want to talk about Switch 2. I can start with mouse controls.
Let's go!
Fucking abomination! God damn it! I forgot that you were excited.
Let's go!
I was excited to talk to Woolie and tell him about how right he was. I guess it's his concept of having like a controller on the left hand and then using the mouse on the right hand. Is that the lore? Like that's the idea, right?
The accuracy of a mouse with the accuracy of a controller.
The left thumbstick. That's exactly what this is, Woolie.
High accuracy on both hands.
Yeah.
They hated him because he was right.
Woolie, I'm just thinking, you know what? You're going to be able to connect Joy-Cons to your PC and use that setup for PC.
You currently can. You currently can. Yeah.
Yeah, but without the interface going completely fucking nuts.
Oh no, you literally can Bluetooth. You can do it. Yeah, you can. Also, a lot of games have set up a don't have your interface flicker between two devices if you want. Like that's become an option too.
So I played Metroid Prime 4 using the left thumbstick to lock on with the left trigger, and then moving around, and I'm like dashing and air dashing as Samus, and then I seamlessly go from like holding it regularly down to the mouse pad, and then I'm doing precise precision aiming, and the first boss has like 4 weak spots all over them, and then they have shields on their arms, and they're moving their arms around to block your shots as like they're adapting to your movements. And then at the whole time, I'm just like doing like slight precision movements to like move the mouse around and like hit directly in the spot. It felt like I was playing a PC game with a
let me ask
That's great.
Were you using it on a mouse pad or what?
They had that's the tricky thing. Like the Switch 2 event had like these massive tables that are perfect for using for mouses. But you can use it on your clothes. You can use it on your pants too.
They showed it in the promo video. They show it on just a random table surface, right? Did now in the treehouse footage, the person that was playing was having a hard time aiming and was missing a whole lot. Leading the shots and stuff was difficult. But you're saying you felt it work, and also it's Metroid Prime, so locking on is like it centers you pretty quickly. But you were able to also just like freestyle it as much as you needed to, and it felt like it was responsive.
It felt. I guess the person who was playing Treehouse was not great because I was playing and the whole Nintendo staff was like, "Yo, you got it right on the bullseye!" Like I'm hitting the missiles and everything like that. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Remember, everyone, video games are for children. They are for little babies. So when you nail it like that, it's like,
Yay.
Wow, good job, buddy.
Yeah. And look, if anyone is butt mad, then just turn it sideways, click it back on, and play it the normal way. You got you have a free choice to do whatever you want. The better way, I feel like, or the old and busted.
I feel like let's say you don't get a Switch 2 at all. No. I think that the Joy-Con situation with the built-in mouse control setup, as well as their new Pro controller that is the only standard controller to date that has the back buttons built in, I feel like Nintendo's like controller solutions here are better than their console.
Just with all the different input options.
I think like giving you your nightmare bullshit and having built-in back buttons for normal humans,
I mean,
is like a win-win for everybody.
Well, and it's also probably
you don't like the back buttons because you squeeze too hard, which I can totally get. Like that happens to me sometimes too.
Thank you.
Especially on the Steam Deck.
Thank you for the vindication. Thank you for telling me that I'm seen, Gene. I appreciate that.
It does feel like there's like so many different ways to play first-person shooters now on the Switch.
There's like still gyro, right?
Yeah, there's still gyro. Yeah, you can still move that shit around too.
Great. So. Yeah, I mean, just more is better. I think also anyone that if you are forced to play with the mouse and side of things, this would be a massive negative story. This would be a huge problem.
Well, get ready for Splatoon 4. Is what my gut says.
Star Fox Zero comes to mind, right?
No.
Anytime people are forced to use the thing. And they're like, the way it worked was fine before. It's like, no, allow it to be an option. Definitely allow it to be an option.
I never played Xenoblade X because Xenoblade X was one of the only Wii U games to come out that was like, you must use the gamepad for the entire interface. And I was like, it wasn't just like I hate the gamepad. A lot of that was, but also the interface switching down to the gamepad for every single menu in that game sucked. It was very annoying.
For a big part for me, it was like, how much waggling can I avoid? With any game that had waggling as a thing. I also am thinking of I played Metroid Prime 1 and 2 on the GameCube with the controller there, and then for 3 when you got the Wiimote out, I was like, I'd rather just play it with the controller.
I should have waited because because I gave myself a minor case of frozen shoulder playing Metroid Prime 3 because I beat that thing in like a weekend, and like my shoulder fucking locked up and my wrist was sore, and it was because it wanted me to hold the thing. Like the Wiimote's only like what? It's like a TV remote. Well, it was a little heavier because of the batteries, but it wanted you to hold it up and out the whole time,
and
nonstop.
And I'm trying to do it with it resting on my lap because I'm like, I'm not, I'm trying to keep my shoulder relaxed to play for a while for sure. I'm always going to talk about Kid Icarus as just Sakurai's fucking crowning achievement of hubris. Like it's not that playing a game with the stick and stylus is a problem in theory. It's that you asked too much by making the hardest difficulty a wrist ruiner for him, for Liam, for everybody. So it's just like, yeah, man, like if you just have that option to be like, I see that's cool, I'm going to stick with what I want the option to just stick with the irregular, then great, Did you play anything else that used it by any chance?
Well, first of all, man, a Kid Icarus re-release with the mouse controls. God,
now's the time. The time is now, actually.
Time is now. And also, I'm thinking Mario Paint, because Mario Paint is
with
the
mouse
last time Nintendo used the mouse, right? But also, Mario Maker is going to be so fun to play around with, making levels with that thing, Oh,
Mario Maker, yeah, that's with a cursor for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Or the Zelda Maker, because remember, Link's Awakening was originally, not Link's Awakening, Echoes of Wisdom was originally supposed to be the Zelda Maker game.
Fuck it.
And they're like, we can just make a Zelda game.
While we're at it, throw in Yoshi Safari and Battle Clash and all the Super Scope 6 games.
Battle Clash, yo! Super Scope games? That would be crazy.
Yeah. Bring them all back.
I did play, if Pat wants to ruin his back and his whole body even more, you can try playing Dragon Drive.
Yeah.
I saw that, and I was like, using the mouse like swoops for every single motion seems like a lot.
It sure is. You can see my photo at the cover of a Canadian French newspaper, Le Devoir. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that.
You actually nailed it.
That was correct.
Okay, there you go. Well, Le Devoir. I'm there. You can see me hunched over, like looking up at the screen like this, like pushing my Dragon Drive, like Switch 2 Joy-Cons over. It is.
So I got really confused because when you said Dragon Drive, I'm like, I don't know what game that is. And then because I was calling it Legs the whole time, the sequel to Arms.
As the sequel to Arms, yes. Yes.
And during that presentation, there was a guy in my chat that was like, I am in a wheelchair. I fucking never want to play this game. This looks terrible. Why would I want to play this?
Gene, if you need me to just like block out your camera so that you're not seen laughing at this fucking fool over here, I can do that anytime. You could just let me know.
Look, I immediately thought of the Burger King Kids Club guy, Wheels.
Sure. I thought of Kotal Khan. But it is cool. It is cool. In that I like the way it looks, and I like the I guess the aesthetic now that is fucking car soccer. I always forget the name now. God damn it.
Rocket League.
Rocket League. But it's also kind of wild because I never thought that Bernie Mac used to do an old bit about like his friend who was in a wheelchair that was trying to avoid getting spanked by their parents, who was like turning and trying to avoid the belt, and he would do this whole big act out with the hands, and it was ridiculous. And it's like, that looks very tiring, and to be fit enough to do that IRL, like those like wheelchair athletes are incredible. But if you really have to do it to that degree to play, that would be a hell of a workout, man.
So you don't. That's when I found out that the mouse controls work on your pants. You don't have to keep doing this on the table. You just put it on your lap and just kind of. So it's like how like when we played Wii Bowling and we're like pretending to like bowl like for real, or like using our actual like arms to like motion around. Wii tennis,
Or like
just flick your wrist. So it's kind of like that version where you can just go like this on your pants.
Okay.
rub your thighs a bit, you know.
So like you don't be like all the dads who are throwing their fastball and whipping the Wiimote straight through the fucking TV. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It still seems to be exhausting, like any motion control game would be. Like, it feels like a game that would be fun to play for like 30 minutes. Like a pickup game of drag and drive, I guess. My issue with it is why the characters are so sauceless. Like, why is
I
there
don't
no
understand.
character?
They look like prototypes.
They look like Halo ODST soldiers in wheelchairs, you know?
Yeah, I guess there's two ways to go with it, right? You can make characters and give them a whole art style and look or so, or you can just make like cyber tech future dudes and to keep it simple.
And we find out more, and then there's like, you know, like the ARMS character designers actually like did a thing here, you know, but it's weird that we didn't see any of that. So,
maybe they showed it early.
Maybe, I don't know. I forget whether that's launched or not. I mean, I don't care. I'm not going to play that game. So.
No, I'm not going to play that shit either. But you know,
Federation Force, the soldiers, that kind of look comes to mind as well.
Yeah. Ooh, the fun thing about Metroid Prime 4 is that it does begin a lot like Metroid Prime 3, very hectic. I don't know if you saw the treehouse footage, but there's a lot of wartime going on. You see like a big ass Doom Slayer type robot, and the Galactic Federation Force is all over the place, and they're all screaming in Samus's ear. You know. Any fun stuff.
I mean, so seeing the psychic powers bit, it's like, okay, so the new gimmick is floating stuff around. We've played a bunch of games that let you, you know, any modern Star Wars game with force powers lets you just use PhysX to, you know, slap things into things. So that on its own is not particularly novel, nor is like sliding puzzle pieces around on a surface from a distance. So like, was there anything cool about it in like terms of combat or other applications of like that new angle?
Didn't see any of that.
Nothing.
I mean, that'd be cool. You know, I know Pat always mentions PsyOps, the Mindgate conspiracy.
Sure.
So I'm gonna mention that again too. So if
reset the clock. Yeah,
exactly. If Metroid Prime 4 is somehow a secret sequel to PsyOps Mindgate Conspiracy, then that'd be sick.
At bare
There's
minimum,
a lot of secret sequels to PsyOps.
At fucking Starkiller, Force Unleashed, right? Force Unleashed. At bare minimum, we need to hit that level of shenanigans with grabbing shit in the environment or enemies, you know. Or if you can psychic grip up a space pirate and then missile it in the air, that'd be kind of cool, I guess. You know,
tech, yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay, so you got to try that out. So Mario Kart World, I was saying last time, I was kind of checked out on Mario Kart. I was like, yeah, you know, I think I'm good. Like, I they're cool. They're a lot of fun. But I'm in terms of like going and buying them each time, kind of like Mario Party. I'm like, you can get this for every once in a while when you have people over. But
you don't need to get all 10 Mario parties, man.
And then I saw the swerve off world, you know, like Burnout Paradise bit, as they're saying, and it's like, yeah, okay, that actually gets my attention. That's pretty cool to have a open world racing game applied to Mario Kart. How was that?
So I was like you, because so the Switch 2 event is cordoned off by floors, and the bottom floor experience is here is regular Grand Prix from Mario Kart World, right? You're just going to do a little race over here. And all these Switch 2s are just locked to that experience. I couldn't go into the OS. I couldn't see what the home screen looked like. I couldn't see what the eShop looked like. I couldn't go back to the menu screen. It's like, no, you are just locked in this race. And then you go upstairs, play the free roam and knockout tour mode.
Okay.
And what I'll say about the free roam is I think you are right to be excited. This is the first Mario Kart game where you can apply, you see that mountain over there, now you can Mario Kart drive to
it. Now you can blue shell up to it.
That's exactly what I did, where I saw the world and I saw the highest peak in the world. So I was like, why don't I just drive up there? And it's in the ice area. And you can see way off in the distance the ice palace that is glimmering. And like I'm getting closer and closer. And I go into the ice palace, which is like different layers with different paths and everything like that. I go up to the highest peak of the mountain, and sure enough, there's a ramp there. And I just jump off, and I can just see the whole Mario Kart world. And my immediate thought was, oh, this is the lands between of Mario Kart.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
okay.
Oh, man.
Because I was gonna say like where is this a? Because for me, I was thinking, is this a Tony Hawk 4 moment? Jump off the board and just platform over to this completely non-skate park part of the map. You know, is that where we are?
You know, I wonder if Mario Kart World was $80 because they're going to reveal in the direct. I don't know anything about this, but they're going to reveal in the direct that you can just jump off the car and just run around.
Just run around with all these characters. Elden Kart
I think
is
what they're
wild.
probably going to reveal is that like it, because I looked at this and I saw Mario Kart Paradise. I saw Burnout Paradise returned in kart form, and they showed off Grand Prix and they showed off Knockout Tour, and like really all they have to do is give you a fucking any task, perpetual task to do in the free roam.
Yep.
And that's gonna be fucking game of the year forever.
Drive into the first warp pipe you see and literally get spit out into Kaled. Like just
But that's the thing,
Yeah.
though. Like, you can see the whole map, and it's like, oh, I can see the ghost house land over here, and I can see the volcano mountain over here. And people are like, oh, but Forza Horizon came out in 2012. And it's like, yeah, but you're not driving around the goddamn Mushroom Kingdom. You know?
Yeah, you're driving around some kind of real place with kind of real cars.
Yeah, Hawaii or Africa or whatever. But it's like, no, this is the Mushroom Kingdom we're driving around here now.
so they we're seeing as well too, like you know, and I guess this segues into Bonanza, but like Donkey Kong looks a bit more like movie-like, and he's got the movie coming as well. I wonder if like there will be an area there that's like, oh, the apartment, the New York from the Mario movie, or if they're gonna like work the movie into, you know, any part of what they're making from now on.
I wonder about that, yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, Knockout Tour, real quick, is super fun. So Knockout Tour is a cross-country race across the whole map. So you just really get to see the entire map. It is wild. It is something else to actually play the game and see like 30 players on a racetrack. Everyone is doing like a different path. People are doing the wall jump up, and you can see the people wall jumping up there. People over here on the left are grinding. The cow is grinding over here. People are just flying over here, and it's kind of glorious actually when you see race this big, like at all, like everyone doing something different, completely different. You know, it's fun. It's Mario Kart, man. You know,
the steel ball run of Mario Kart. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But like I was just thinking about when you were describing like, you know, oh, the Mushroom Kingdom is here, and like looking at like the mountains and that's over there. I'm like, that was part of, just to go back to it for a second, the movie kind of gave that impression of like, oh, Luigi's Mansion takes place in this location, and like you got a feeling for a map to that world overall, you know. So it feels like that would be like something you could easily one-to-one and just be like, okay, and this is where Donkey Kong hangs out, and you just kind of, you know, take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, I said the lands between a Mario Kart. I mean, the real proper parallel is the Breath of the Wild of Mario Kart. That's what this is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like, oh, there's Death Mountain, and there's Hyrule Castle, and there's, you know, the water, the Zora area, and everything like that. And to see it fully realized as a Mario Kart world. Now.
What is there to do in the free world once you're not on a like set racetrack?
That we have no idea. So. That is what will probably determine whether $80 is a good price or not.
Okay.
Because we don't know.
Because is it like,
I have a quote here. Quote, there is more, end quote, to the free roam mode.
Okay.
Bill Trennan said that to IGN, so we will probably find out more in the Mario Kart Direct whether, you know, we don't know anything about battle mode. Like, I really think like a battle mode in this big ass map will be super cool. Will it be a battle royale? That sounds fun to me.
Are you
it's a
just
boring idea, but it sounds fun.
like, is it just drive and collect the Koroks, you know, or is it like, oh, go help that ranch, go find their lost cow up on the mountainside over there, you know, like how NPC driven, how much of us, like, you know,
I assume it would be custom races.
Drive up the Ubisoft tower and stare down and create all the icons for your kart side quests, you know, like. Yeah, I mean, a bunch of races for sure, but like, is there going to be like gameplay beyond that? I guess I wonder. When you say open world, you usually think of like different quest types and different, you know, things you run into and stuff. So
I mean, shit, it could be as simple as like spell skate.
Oh yeah. So that find the different letters exactly.
Crazy
There's
taxiing.
a lot of different hidden areas and everything like that. So maybe we'll see. I don't know.
Giving Pauline a ride from one place to another if she needs it, or so
Crazy taxi.
Yeah.
Crazy taxi.
Speaking of Pauline, DK Bonanza, aka Red Faction Gorilla.
Gorilla. Oh my god. So perfect.
They should have called it that. No, they can't. But still,
I mean, they literally can't. But sure. Also,
it's too good.
That's a way less popular franchise than Donkey Kong.
Man, I really liked Red Faction 1.
But yeah, sure. How was that?
I did play that. It is very stress relieving. It feels good to hit the wall over and over again. It feels good to hit the ground over and over again. It's intuitive because you press B to punch down, and you press X, the top button, to punch up, and then you press Y to punch forward, and then A is to jump. Very, very simple.
Gotcha. All three directions. Go.
All I need is punch.
Can you
Impact B feels good. Thunk, thunk, thunk.
Can you punch a hole into the ocean and just like literally
It feels like
destroy?
you can just keep punching. It feels like you can just keep punching for a long, long time. You can just basically like spelunk and create like your own like Minecraft caves. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah.
I guess, yeah.
It's basically like Minecraft, except like maybe like a lot more limited. So like I hit the core of the earth where like here is something that you can't punch. So that's where like they'll have boundaries there. I don't think Donkey Kong can go to the center of the earth.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay, no, that's actually like if you can Minecraft tunnel underground, like that's a different kind of game because like interacting with all structures on the earth versus the earth itself, and then up or down, and I guess if there's a wide enough open area for you to like find shit underground or do things or punch your way into like an underground cavern or something like that.
There's all kinds of secret shit down there.
Right on. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's like if the ground was an ocean.
Okay,
and you can just explore it. It's ridiculous.
And I mean, and I feel like beyond that, like all of the tropical freeze big boss moments or Odyssey style big moments, like all that's like the actual traversal and gameplay and everything is going to be exciting and fun and solid. Like I don't have any doubts about that being great, but I'm just curious about like this particular digging and breaking sort of part of it.
You can just break everything. You could like there's a platform, just break it. You don't have to jump on it. Don't jump on it. Why? Just punch through it.
Hulk Ultimate Destruction as well.
You can climb anything too. It's very Breath of the Wild. Again, it's you can tell like Breath of the Wild is like the most inspirational game for them. It's like it's very freeing. It feels like in Tears of the Kingdom, you didn't play it, but there's an ascend move where you can just like
right.
So that's like that move except anywhere direction, like downward.
Oh, okay.
Like ooh, what's down here? Let's figure this out. So you have to kind of like think in an X-axis or Y-axis completely as you're playing this 3D platformer.
Drop your Nintendo characters into a sandbox. Nintendo has hired this man finally.
Finally.
Yeah. Okay.
And it seems like a Donkey Kong like Origins type of story where this is like Donkey Kong as a minor, both in both meanings.
It's
like
early.
He's a kid.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a kid and he's a minor. So.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, it seems like this is like early, like this is like the Donkey Kong country that we know, and this is like him growing up.
It takes place beforehand. Okay. So
I certainly don't know who the fuck Pauline is. In
there's that, and then there's whatever that new furry bait character is. Right.
I haven't even seen
right.
that.
Yeah.
There's some new. Where was it? Let me see if I can find it.
Cunty Kong.
I mean, I'm probably
Tell
not.
me I'm wrong.
Probably wrong. Also, actively demonetizing everything that this shows up on, because that's actually a problem now.
Oh, seriously?
the one with the,
Oh, keep
the one
test.
with the purple hair.
Oh, you test it out on YouTube
Well,
and see what
if I'm
happens.
Australian?
Yeah, Australians are getting wrecked on YouTube's filters.
Oh, well, just bleep me out.
Yeah. The purple hair,
Is it
exactly.
The purple hair monkey.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
You didn't run into that character? No. Okay.
No, not yet.
Okay. What else did they initially
That's good to
show
know.
off?
Play Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I heard it runs at 40 FPS.
It does. Yeah, in
How's
performance
that?
mode, and that's a 7-week-old build, so I don't know if it's going to run 40 FPS. forever.
Whoa, that's early.
Yeah, and it plays, and the demo was in Dogtown because it is trying to remind you. Remember, Phantom Liberty was not available in last-gen consoles. This is a current-gen console area only, and here it is running on the Switch 2 just fine.
Wait, really? Phantom Liberty didn't come to all versions?
No, not for PS4 and Xbox One.
Whoa.
Here is a PS5 only content running on the Switch 2.
Okay.
And I texted our good friend of the show, Susie the Sphere Hunter, saying, Susie, you are going to be in a Nintendo console launch game.
Cool.
Huh.
All in
What
the cart, 64 gigs.
what did that happen with? Intergrade, FF7. Or did the
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Intergrade 2. Yeah, we're getting Intergrade 2 for the remake. So
Okay, got your hands on that.
yeah, and I played a ton of Cyberpunk on the Steam Deck. So and I can just tell you just by eyeballing it that this looks better than the Steam Deck for sure.
That's not surprising. The Stream Deck's pretty low tier on technical shenanigans. I fucked that up. It's underpowered. The Steam Deck's underpowered. The Steam Deck is for Hades, is what it's for.
Yes.
Well, it seems like there's a constant conversation with anything that I'm looking to install on it is like going to see how does this run? Did you have to tweak any settings? Did you have to jump through any hoops? It's like it has a wide install whatever you want. You're free to, but no guarantees on how it's going to
Yeah,
run.
install
type of thing.
Monster Hunter Wilds on the fucking Steam Deck. Just go for it. Whatever. You don't need frames.
Did you try out the updated Forgotten Land?
Oh no, I did not.
Okay.
I did look at it though because it looks really nice. So I just eyeballed it. Tears of the Kingdom was the only one I think I just really wanted to touch and feel
Okay.
myself.
How's it feel?
It was fantastic. I couldn't believe it. This is the first time I'm playing Zelda at 60 frames per second. So that's what it is. It's.
I got pretty
finally
deep into
Zelda.
that game, and I got maybe 40% in, and I'm like, I'm just gonna wait for the fucking Switch 2 version. Like, I actually just had that thought. I was like, because once you started building like large scale materials, the game started to really not like you doing that.
You didn't see the console UI, right?
No, not at all.
Okay. I wonder if they're going to let you use the mouse to navigate, like,
Oh, that'd be crazy.
right? To just be like, to just
UI.
quickly move around, like click on your game, Steam, shop.
that'd be fun.
Browsing the eShop with a mouse would be really quick and convenient, I
You
hope
know what
so.
would be really awful though? If they're like, well, since mouse input's a possibility, let's just use the Destiny style horrible controller moves a mouse cursor interface for everything.
Now the cursor is,
game.
now you have to select all your games from the fucking slow joystick thumbstick cursor. Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you try out fucking Waggle Fighter 6 extreme modes? The
I did not get to play Street Fighter 6.
calorie burner. Yeah.
Yeah. I did play some Soul Calibur too. That was fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's Soul Calibur too.
I love it.
Is it the exact same D-pad? I know the sticks have gotten, they're now Hall effect
So
sticks.
they're not. They unconfirmed that.
Oh, fuck off. God damn it, dude.
But they said they're lots
surprised at
better
that.
though. They're lots better this time.
Shut the fuck up. It's still gonna stop working. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, what's going on D-pad wise?
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
It sucks.
Okay.
So, yeah. Pro controller it is. Or use the old one because it has the back pads. So
And
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like the magnetic thing. Like they said it's very strong, but I kind of
It's
like
very sturdy. I can
fucking rip
it feels
that.
sturdier than a regular Switch, honestly.
I feel like I could rip that shit
out.
out.
Okay, well, you know what? When you get a Nintendo Switch 2,
give it a shot.
fucking
Yeah.
rip those Joy-Cons off. I dare you.
Well, no, the question is more like, are kids going to do that, you know? Are they going to just not press the button and go, yeah, because you go, nah,
I
to
mean,
put
listen,
it in,
man,
you know?
the kids aren't going to be able to pull it apart, but if a kid wants to fucking not pay attention and destroy their handheld console, they're going to figure out there's a big piece of glass on the front of that thing.
Well, yeah, but like the Game Boy that was made of Gundanium alloy, that as a kid was made for you to spike it like a football.
Yeah, but that thing weighed 45 pounds.
And it survived nukes, right?
Yeah.
And that is not the same handhelds that we have today.